Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in living and thriving land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm currently on a world tour of 175 guests to learn what makes them ooey gooey on the inside. Why do people tick? Why do people perceive things the way they do? What is the cultural phenomenon of wanting so much to be different yet fearing difference? So it's been a really exciting adventure, and I believe today I'm in England. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check that credit card receipt, but I believe I have a young man named Richard on. Hi, Richard. Is that you?
You have a man named Richard on, yes, from England. I don't know if I qualify as a young man these days, but I'll take it.
Are you under 200?
Yes, I'm only 198, so yes.
Well, I'm on the Gulf Coast of Florida, so that would make you very young.
Okay, that works for me then, yes.
Well, good evening, Richard. Thank you for joining us. And if I remember correctly, you are from England. So you are 7:30 at night right now? Is that right?
It's actually 7 p.m., but you're pretty close, yeah.
Pretty close. Now, I have to say, I absolutely love London. I've had so much fun there. But the largest thing that I enjoy the most about your country is your sense of humor.
Wow, I'm under pressure to deliver here then.
No pressure.
I'm going to have to come out with loads of good gags and sarcastic quips.
And that would be very appropriate. I mean, even if you wanted to
I'll see what I
practice
can
the
do.
silly walk.
Yeah, I'll do. Well, unfortunately, as is the case on Zoom meetings, I've only got a shirt on and nothing underneath. So if I do a silly walk, it could be a bit awkward.
You know, this is rated PG. So you might want to just keep you sitting.
Yeah, probably the best.
So Richard, you are one of the few people that I actually have on to talk about sales and marketing. I don't normally have people on with that, but there was something intriguing about your approach. And so we're going to just get to it. So who are you? What do you do? And what makes you ooey gooey?
Ooey gooey. Wow. That's a question that could take way longer than half an hour. But in terms of what I am, I'm Richard Fletcher, as you already introduced me, and I run a company called The Magic Source for Online Marketing. And specifically, I do quite a few things, but the main thing I do is I show people, particularly people who run like online coaching businesses, like life coaches, fitness coaches, etc., how they can use their Facebook feed, particularly their Facebook personal profile, to write the kind of posts that aren't annoying, aren't spammy, still fall within Facebook's terms and conditions, so you don't get booted off a platform. But the kind of posts that attract people to go, I want a bit of what he's selling, or I want a bit of what Rusty's got to sell. And they'll message you be like, hey, Rusty, can you tell me more about your program? Can you tell me more about how you help me? And then you have a chat with them and you sign them up. And if you've got like a higher ticket program, like, 3, 4, 5K plus, well, you don't need to be making loads of these sales. You sell one a week at 5K, suddenly you're making 20K a month. And it's actually quite tasty numbers. So I kind of show people how my process behind that.
So what I think is interesting, because of the climate that we're in, and I understand you guys are getting ready for another shutdown where my governor just wants to open everything up and hug everybody.
Yeah, it's like one or the other, isn't it? It's like we open, we close, we open, we close. I mean,
yeah.
The pubs in England are still allowed to be open, but for some reason they now have to shut at 10 p.m. because
which is bizarre as an old bartender.
Yeah, I mean,
you're drunk by 7.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm drunk now. What do you mean? The virus is safe to be out until 10, and the virus gets dangerous after 10. That's what I take from that. So
I don't know. Maybe they don't want a lot of baby showers in the spring. I don't know.
It's
a bizarre climate that we're in.
But possibly.
Back to business. So why I really wanted to pick your brain a little bit is because my latest 2 books are about reinventing yourself and figuring out how to do what it is that you really want to do, what burns your soul, what gets you excited, what is your cosmic orgasm in life? Why are you here? And a lot of people have turned that into building their own business. But there's so much crap out there. I mean, I get robo-dialed all day long. I'm like blocking numbers from India.
Robo-dial. Yeah, I mean, what was the point? I mean, not to take this conversation off at a tangent before we even got on track, but yeah, I mean, I get rubbish, like random phone calls all the time. I just don't answer them. I think most people are like that now. If I don't know the number, I don't answer it anymore.
Right.
I think that's where most of us are at. But it's like, how do you stand out from all the noise? The problem we've got on Facebook, but pretty much anywhere, is people have seen all the claims before. I mean, let's say you work in the weight loss industry, and maybe 50, 60 years ago, you could say, hey, lose 20 pounds in the next 30 days, lose 30 pounds in the next 40 days, whatever. And people are like, oh, yeah, this sounds good. I want some of this. But unfortunately, we've seen all those offers, and people have been through like literally everything, like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, the Atkins diet, and all the other crazy stuff, lettuce leaf and a glass of lemonade for the next 30 days diet or whatever. And it's like people have tried all this stuff and it didn't work. And now they're like, okay, when you make the same claim now, I'm not going to believe you because I've seen this before. So it's all about like a big part of what I show people how to do is kind of how can you have that level of credibility? How can people who've been burned many times before? Because my most of my customers have done like spent 20, 30, 40 grand in various business coaching and courses and ads and God knows what else. And they are super skeptical and cynical when they come to me. They're like, I do not want to spend money on another business coach. And what often happens is they see my stuff on day one, they'll follow it and don't pay much attention. And it's like 6 months later, after seeing my stuff pop in their feed, and it's kind of like, you know, Chinese water torture, blip, 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 blip on a daily basis. Eventually they go, oh God, I don't want to sign up with another coach, but go on then. And then they appear and I'm like, oh, okay, let's join my program, and off we go. And I feel like that's where we are these days. There's loads of people who are just like shouting really loud, hey, sign up with me, sign up with me, sign up with me, and no one's listening.
I find that to be the case, and I find it to be extraordinarily annoying. I've been in marketing and sales for 20 some odd years. I'm a really old lady. And over the last probably 5 years, I've seen such a huge uptick. I feel like people are mentally numb at this point when it comes across to messaging, because you're hit so many times, you shut down.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. It's like, I feel like a lot of people as well, they're seeing other people running a business and being a coach, and they go, well, I don't really particularly enjoy going to work and sitting in a cubicle, or I don't know if most people in the US are at home these days, like most people in the UK are, I think, who are in offices. But no, I don't particularly enjoy going to work. I don't like my job, so maybe I can be a coach as well. And they start posting about life coaching because they don't really know what they can do. So I don't really know what my skill is, so I'll be a life coach. I feel like that's like the cliche of life coaches, which if you're actually a really good life coach, it must drive you insane. Again, how do you stand out from all those people? How do you stand out from all those 19-year-olds who just did Tony Robbins' Uncover the Power Within or Unleash the Power Within, whatever it's called, last weekend? They walked on hot coals and now they're all inspired. They're like, I'm going to coach people with their lives. You know, it's like, how do you stand out from that? I had a guy who came to me a couple of years ago. Nice bloke, but he had a big problem with his offer in he was 24 and single and wanted to help men around the age of 40 and so on with their marriages. And it's just like, even if the stuff you're saying and like actually, even if the advice you give is totally spot on, nobody's going to listen to you. Because it's like, why am I going to take advice off this like young squirt over here?
Well, and so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the steps that you recommend people to take, because right now we're coming to the end of, the latest plague. And in our country, it's the biggest civil unrest we've had since the 50s. And it's just an extraordinary time period politically across the world with NATO and climate change and all of this other distraction, important distraction. But I think it takes away from messaging. And so people are trying to reinvent themselves with all of this fog and chaos. What are the steps that you would recommend somebody to start out with? And I agree, if you're 24 and you're trying to pitch my 44-year-old ladiness about love and romance, I'm sorry, click.
It's like, instant switch off. I think the biggest thing is credibility. Like, do you get results for people? And there's so many people who are like, well, I could be a life coach, but you've never helped anyone achieve any results in their lives. It's like, the old cliche of a life coach who like lives in a trailer, makes no money, all his relationships are a wreck, or all her relationships are a wreck, is like massively overweight. And you're like, oh, well, I look at your life and it's not something I want to emulate. So I kind of feel like a lot of people are in that position. So we kind of have to go, it's not necessarily what people want to hear. You know, people want to hear like, okay, here's the magic Facebook post you can cut and paste, and everyone's going to like want to give you 10 grand or whatever. But it's like the starting point for everything. Like when people come to me, the starting point is usually I sit on a call and I grill them for like an hour and a half with questions, and I write everything down. And I go, okay, sounds like your thing is this. And sometimes it's the thing they're doing already, but sometimes it's something completely different. And they need that kind of, that's the foundation for everything. It doesn't matter whether you're posting on Facebook, whether you're running ads, whether you're knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, you know, want to buy this. It's, do you have an offer? Are you selling something that people want to buy and people trust you can deliver a result? And I feel like most people aren't. That's really the starting point. From then, you can use whatever system you want. I'm happy to talk about like my actual methods for Facebook, but if you don't have that first bit actually nailed, writing the right kind of posts on Facebook are just going to kind of, people are just going to be like, whatever, scroll past.
Do you think that we need a lot of loud noises and colors and zings and zongs and circusy kind of behaviors, like maybe would be appropriate 30 or 40 years ago?
Well, I don't know what a zong is, but I'm going to say no. We don't need zings or zongs, but we need more zangs. That's what I say. No, I mean, if we look back through the history of the internet, when most of us started coming online, like the majority is like, you know, the late 90s and early 2000s, I'm sure you remember the banner ads that used to pop up. Like you go to any website and you get a banner ad pop up and you get another banner ad. You close this one, another one popped up, and then another one popped
So
up.
annoying.
You'd move your mouse to like the X to close it, and then the banner would jump over here, and you end up like chasing it around the screen trying to get rid of it. Guess what? Those things died out because although you couldn't get rid of them, people quickly figured out these are annoying. We need to get rid of them. These are annoying. I'm not going to buy anything. So people stopped using them. Advertisers stopped using them because they stopped working. And that's kind of how it works with a lot of these hypey things like flashing lights and buy now. And, you know, this discount ends in the next 59 seconds. You got to buy immediately. A lot of that kind of crap just dies out because people like me, because I'm an idiot, I'll buy anything. But you know, I'm the easiest. In some ways, I'm the hardest person to sell to. In some ways, I'm the easiest. It's like if I see something, go, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. I'll buy it straight away. It might be like a 10 grand program, and I'll buy it with like 10 seconds of thought. And it's like I need somebody to stop me and say, do you want to take a minute to think about this, Richard? But if I feel like this is something I've seen before, oh, it's another one of these annoying banners, it's another flashing, zinging, zanging thing, I'm just going to be like, no, seen this before. This is stuck in 2008 or 1998 or whatever. So what we need is to stand out in a different way. And if you actually look at my posts on Facebook, most of my posts don't even have an image. They're literally just all text, but it's all about how I grab people's attention with my words and make people go, okay, this is interesting, or this is an interesting story, or I believe what you're saying. Even though you're saying maybe similar things to what other business coaches are saying, I believe you for some reason. That's really the crux of the matter for me.
All right. So where did we find more information about you? We're kind of halfway through this whole little conversation.
Okay. So best place to go is my website. It's called magicsourcemarketing.com. You can find, if you go to the main page, there's a video there. You have to put your name and email in, but there's a video there that's 20 minutes to finding your magic source. So the magic source being defined as what is your thing that separates you from everybody else? You know, if you're a fitness coach, you can't just be a fitness coach because there's a billion of those and then you're just a commodity. And when you're a commodity, literally the only thing separating you from other people is either price or convenience. So if you're a fitness coach, but you're closer to me and you're cheaper, I might sign you up. But if I just see you as being the same as every other fitness coach, it's like, that's literally the only reason to sign you up. So it's all about how to separate yourself out of that and then become more valuable. So people can watch that there. There's also a link to my Facebook group there, which people can join, and a bunch of other stuff, blog posts. Feel free to have a look around there.
So why marketing? Why magic sauce? What was the inspiration to get you motivated to create this entity?
Well, it was a complete accident. I never had any desire to help people with marketing, but my desire when I was younger was always, as far back as I can remember, was I don't want to be working for the man, and I don't want to be, you know, doing some job that I hate for years, sat in some office, you know, compiling reports and sticking them in some repository that, you know, no one reads it, and it's just like ticking in boxes. I wanted to do work that I want to be paid well, yeah, but I want to do work that I felt was meaningful. I might not necessarily be changing the world, but certainly making the world better in some small way. I know that sounds kind of cheesy cliche, but I want to feel like my time here counted for something, even if it was small. And I went through a ton of stuff trying to figure out how I could make money online in the late 2000s. And a lot of it was spammy stuff like get rich quick and, sack your boss, magic turnkey system pulls dollars in your bank while you sleep. I signed up for all that nonsense and none of it worked. Until I got to a point, and amongst this time, I was trying to figure out my own dating life. Like, why is it that the girls I wanted to date didn't want to date me, in around the age of like 25 to sort of 30. And I got lost in all of kind of a pickup nonsense and down a sort of like, I wouldn't say a dark road, but down to a place I didn't want to go down and came back again. And my process through that, I ended up at a conference in 2014, and I was talking to a really nice lady over lunch where we were just talking about like relationships and the problems that men have connecting with women and vice versa in the modern day and age. And she was like, "You should be teaching this stuff to guys." I was like, "Really, little old me?" She was like, "Yeah, sure." Now it turned out she had an ulterior motive because she was a business coach, but she helped me set up my first business in actually coaching this stuff with guys. And I did that for a few years, but then I ended up getting married, and I just got to the point where I started getting a bit bored with that. I felt like I was getting the same old guys with the same old problems. Meanwhile, at the same time, I found myself in other people's Facebook groups giving advice on marketing about, how to sell, setting up businesses, that kind of stuff. And I really found that more interesting than the dating stuff. And after a while, I was just like, when I set up my own group, because I kept on saying stuff that disagreed with the group owner and then I get in trouble and kicked out the group or whatever, I'll set up my own group. So I did, and that grew pretty fast. It grew to like 1,000 members in 6 weeks or whatever. That was in June 2018. And I realized after about 6 weeks, I wasn't really planning to do anything with the group. I still wasn't planning to be a business coach. But then I realized there was a lot of people there who wanted more help than I could just give in like the comments on Facebook posts. So I just threw out a post and said, "Hey, would anyone be interested in like a more detailed course, like a 90-day challenge," I called it, where we start here and then 90 days from now, we do something every day. You work on your business every day, and 90 days, you're getting clients in, you're getting more leads in, you've actually got something. 7 people signed up. And I took those 7 people, got them some results, got some testimonials, and then literally built everything from there. I used those testimonials to get more people, and here we are today. So it was kind of like an accident, but it was all born out of a desire initially to work for myself and do my own thing, but also do something that was in some way useful.
Do you think that what you're doing now relates to relationships? You were dealing with romantic relationships in the beginning, and now you're dealing with business relationships. Are they
100%? In fact, I actually made a post on my Facebook feed today where I was talking about some of the parallels there's so many parallels between dating and business. I mean, if you think about it, like if you have like an online dating profile, that is basically marketing. I was talking about how I did a weird thing back in early 2015. This is what the all about, where I set up a fake online dating profile on Plenty of Fish called
Oh my God, that place is horrible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was called Smart Girl 94, and Smart Girl 94 was a hot 26-year-old girl who was a race car driver, who's like really smart, who's like a quick wit, and has lots of like interests that would appeal to boys in terms of like boy type films, like gangster type movies and stuff like that. So lots of things a guy could connect with, and I set that up as an experiment to see, okay, what is it like being a girl on these sites? And literally within like 20 minutes, I had like 60 messages, and 50 of them were like, "Hi, how are you?" with "are you" spelled literally "are you," illiterate messages, people not reading the profile, just being like, "Hi, how are you today? Hi, are you okay?" And what happens is it's just like a barrage of endless boring messages, and you don't stand out from the crowd. Or you go the other way and you get like creepy guys sending pictures of like their knobs or whatever. It's like one or the other.
My favorite is when they go, "Hi, how are you? What are you looking for on here?" Huh? Did you not read my profile?
He's like literally there. So the parallels of that, as I was saying, is like there's a parallel with these people who now send cold messages on LinkedIn and Facebook. They'll appear in your inbox and be like, "Hey, great to connect. What do you do for a living?" It's like, is literally the first thing you see on my profile. Or, "Hey, great to connect. 3,000 word essay about why they're so wonderful. Would you like to sign up to my thing here?" And it's like, I'm not going to read this essay from someone I don't even know. Or,
so you have a better version of LinkedIn than I do, because over the last year and a half, LinkedIn has become this very bizarre, like madam site where these guys from all over the world want to know your net worth. And so they sign up.
Really?
And I'm going, no.
So, well, I don't really use LinkedIn. I tried to use LinkedIn for a while, and I just found it so boring. I couldn't stick with it. I was like, "Oh, I'll stick with Facebook, man. I can't be doing with LinkedIn." I just found everything about it boring. So LinkedIn's turned into like a weird like dating site now.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, and people will connect with you, and then try to sell you on their product, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with what you do currently. And it just, I kind of scratch my head looking at the human dichotomy that we already live in and go, huh, you really didn't do your research before you reached out.
It's like they're pitching you like I've got a product for men on premature ejaculation or something like that, and it's
Exactly.
like,
And like,
hey, would you
no,
like to buy this? You're like, well, I'm not a man today, but who knows what the future may bring? Sign me up. But no, yeah, going back to the thing. I mean, it's like this carpet bombing approach where I'll just like message literally everyone in sight with my offer and someone might want to buy it. Instead of being like, I'm not even against cold messages, but what if you took the time to go, okay, this is the kind of person who would really benefit from what I do. I'll seek those people out and then send them, each of those people, a unique, tailored message that shows I've read their profile, shows like I've taken the time to like look at what they might be interested in, explain what they're doing and why it would benefit them. Now, you're not going to sign everybody up, but you'd have a much better pitch. You'd have a much better
but
success rate.
that's old school marketing. That's how we used to build rapport.
Mm.
And you would take that time because you really wanted to illustrate that you had that person's back. Now it's just throwing shit at a fan and praying that it sticks.
Yeah, it's like let's see what's throw shit at a wall, see what sticks. And unfortunately, the automated softwares have got a lot to answer for here because people are like, I really can't be asked doing a search and then manually connecting, then messaging people when linked helper or whatever using now. What's that one? There's one called Leonard for some reason. It was called Leonard. Yeah, it's like I'll use Leonard and Leonard will send me 100 messages a day to people. I don't need to do anything now. The downside is, well, obviously you can get kicked off LinkedIn because it's against the rules. But more importantly, people see this and see through it and go, oh, it's another automated message. There's nothing in here that relates to me. So the difference, like I would respond to, I'm not against a pitch. I'd respond to a good pitch. What I don't like is, hey, I noticed that you're doing good work in a consulting space. Would you, I thought you might benefit from this. I see through that. But if I see, I've been following you for a while, Richard, and I really like your content, especially if they compliment me on something that I want to be complimented on, not just like, oh, you're a good coach, but, I find your posts like amusing. Everyone else's posts are really boring, but yours make me laugh. That's more something that's going to be like, oh yeah, that's kind of like what I think about my posts. So I quite like it if other people notice. Like,
Well, and
I try to make them entertaining. If someone notices that about me and then says, "Oh, especially that post you made last week about this, it was really thoughtful about this." Anyway, that shows some level of like, "Oh, I've been following you and I notice your stuff and I like it. I'm now going to be reading the rest of your message. I might not sign up, but I'm going to read it."
but don't you think that that's a little bit of marketing romance? I mean, just like dating, you like to feel pretty or handsome. You like to feel that attention. You like to have that nuance of interest. And absolutely. I think that somewhere, somehow, we've just gone into this robo society where we think that we can, hit a 10% mark if we hit the 2000 dial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gone crazy. So someone actually mentioned in the comments on my feed, and I totally agree today in the same post, the biggest problem we have as humans today is connection in general. It's difficult. One of the things I did this week, going off at tangent again, is I moved all of my people I know in the real world, as in people I see in real life, like actual 3D humans. I moved them all from Facebook Messenger to WhatsApp. I kept all of my business connections on Messenger, and I've set my phone to not notify me of any Facebook notification after 8 p.m. during the week, because I realize that it's easy to say, oh, well, just don't work after 6 p.m. or don't work after 8 p.m. But when I've got my phone on the side, and the phone buzzes and it's Facebook, well, it might be a friend, so I might reply, but then it might be a customer. And sometimes customers aren't always happy. And if it's an unhappy customer, it bothers me. I'd like to say I can ignore it, but I can't. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, oh, I better reply to this. And now I'm working again. This happened when in the summer, I was out in the garden on a lovely sunny day, having like a nice gin and tonic with my wife. And we don't get many sunny days in the UK, so we have to take the most of them. Have to make the most of it. It's not like I live in California where this is like a daily event. So, and then like a message popped up from a client who wasn't happy with something, and then I saw it, and I didn't want to see it, but I'd seen it now, and I couldn't unsee it, and then I had to go and like sort it out because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I'm like, do you know what? I don't want this shit. Like when I'm off work, I want to be off work. I don't want to be constantly on all the time. So little things like that, where I just kind of removing myself from the equation a bit.
Well, and I think
so I can connect with like actual real people in front of me instead of being on my phone all the time.
Well, and that's what we need to be doing more of. I think we've become Pavlov's dog in a lot of ways in regards to our technology. I mean, I have friends that I've worked as an account executive in technology for a bazillion years. So I understand a lot of technology. Doesn't mean I want it in my house.
Yeah.
And so I don't have the little speaker that you can speak to tell them to do whatever you need it or want it to do. And I find that in some ways we are becoming extremely lazy, not only in our day-to-day actions, our thinking, because we're not really required to think anymore. Everything's automated, but also in our relationships and how we handle just basic conversation. And it's really a phenomenon.
I completely agree. I think going forward, manual labor, repetitive tasks you can do over and over again will be just wiped out because you can automate it all. But being able to empathize and connect with other people's emotions and understand their situation, I think that, as you said, we're lazy, but at the same time, if a machine can do a repetitive task, if a machine can do the washing up for me, then I'm going to let it do it. I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm morally superior because I'm doing this boring work. I'm going to let it do it. But I think what people are missing is, I think now more than ever, people are, I don't know if lonely is the right word, but certainly disconnected. Like nobody understands me. I'm this special and unique individual and no one understands where I come from. If you can actually get to the root of that and really understand people, well, you can provide a lot of people, you can have a lot of value for people in your day-to-day life, like people you see in person, but also from a marketing point of view, you can sell a lot more stuff because then actually you help people go, oh, this person understands where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we are wrapping up, Richard. I know that you probably want to have another gin and tonic, and I know that the sun isn't out because it's probably almost 7:30 by now.
Yeah, it's pitch black now, yeah.
What's on your next adventure? Do you have anything exciting that's going to come forward over the next few months before 2021?
Well, I'm not going anywhere or doing anything as the law permits. Sadly, I'd like to. I'm desperate to go and travel the world again, do some stuff, and get out of here. But in business terms, I've actually one thing I've been investigating recently is kind of, there's a lot of stuff, like the things in business. I want to do more of the things in business that I enjoy doing and less of the things I don't enjoy doing. Recently, I've been hiring people to do the stuff that I don't want to do. Like for some reason, I realized recently, I'm really happy to sit down and write a Facebook post, but when it comes to writing an email, I just dread writing emails. I don't know why. It's essentially the same thing. So I hired someone to do that for me this week. And it's kind of like just looking into those things and sort of realizing this is how I'm built as a person. So why fight it? Why force myself to do things I don't want to do? So it's about, instead of thinking, up till now, it's always been like, how can I earn more money? Now it's about how can I kind of run my business in a more fulfilling way?
Well, and I think you can build a house. For me personally, I like mudding and taping and painting and putting on the trim work and throwing in the insulation, but I'm not a plumber. I don't want to be a plumber. I'm not an electrician. I don't want to be an electrician. So when you come to a point in your business where you realize the things that really make you happy over the things that don't make you happy, finding an alternative. And there are many virtual assistants around the world now, which is something that's unique to our generation. 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't so. Now it's, they're $5 an hour. And I think that's smart business choice because you're taking more time and investing more in your business concept and growth by not doing the things that take longer to do because you hate it.
I mean, there's certain things that would make me more money, but I'm not doing it because I don't want to do it, like emailing my list every day. So I'll pay someone to do that and I'll end up so I'll pay someone to do it, which will cost me money in the short term, but in the long term, I'll be better off.
Yeah, Absolutely. So, Richard, last time, where can we find more information about you? And have a great rest of COVID. Yay.
Thank you. No one's ever wished me that before. Have a great COVID. Will you have a great COVID too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Magicsourcemarketing.com. Have a wonderful COVID.
Have a
That
wonderful
should be best
just
for
be
new greeting.
safe. I mean, you can't really say happy holidays. I know in about 2 weeks or so here, I'm sure we're going to see an uptick in very angry people because holidays are not going to be what they used to be. At least, my hope for England is people are going to be a lot more playful about it than we are here in the US.
Well, who
Don't
knows?
know.
Hopefully.
We'll see in about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So Richard, thanks for coming on the show and giving us some insight. I know that I have a lot of people that are looking into building their own business, and this is helpful to get to the root of what makes marketing marketable versus human ego. So
Brilliant.
enjoy your gin and tonic. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Bye, Richard. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty, and I know this was a little bit of a plot twist, but I'm all about plot twists, especially during COVID. Come on now. How are you going to reinvent yourself? What makes you ooey gooey? What do you want to do in life? Well, there's quite a bit you can do. And what I love that Richard stated was that you got to get good with who you are and what you do and make it make sense. If you're 24 years old and you're trying to sell, romance and things like that to people in their 40s and 50s, they're not going to take you very seriously. If you're 45 and you're trying to do that, that's a little bit of a different ball game and demographics. So look at your demographics, look at your content, and definitely sit down and figure out what makes you excited and what bores you stiff. And look at the resources out there. Again, you can get virtual assistants fairly reasonable. And they can do the stuff that you don't want to do. So make it fun, enjoy your life, go out and invent a widget or a zing or a zong or whatever. I'm a Dr. Seuss person, so that's where I go with all of that. Anyway, know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful. 2 cookies, not 4. Make sure that you do something fun today. I don't care if it's finger painting, dancing in your living room naked, nobody's looking because they're all trapped on their phone playing those damn ding dong games. I don't know. Until next time.